Quarterback is everyone's favorite position in college football, and is definitely the most talked about and my favorite. Quarterback recruiting is very fun, and I'm honestly fascinated by it, and everyone loves to talk about the high school prospects. With the 2021 guys on campus now, I thought it'd be a good time to take a look at the next wave of blue chip quarterback recruits, and today I'm going to talk about the top 10 high school football recruits for the class of 2022, and you can briefly get to know each guy and what they're capable of. But first, before we get into that, if you want to support my channel, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you love college football content, suggest another player, topic, coach, or video I could do next, and turn on post notifications so you never miss when I upload. Now let's go ahead and get started and talk about the top 10 quarterbacks for the class of 2022. I'm going to be using the 24/7 Sports composite for today's video, and we will go based off that, so argue with them, not me. At number 10, we have Gavin Wimsatt. The name may sound kind of familiar, as I recently talked about his commitment in a video of mine, but he is ranked number 89th in the country and is committed to Rutgers. This was a huge commitment for Greg Schiano and the biggest quarterback recruit landing in school history. Wimsatt chose the Scarlet Knights over the home state favorite of Kentucky, and he had better offers than that. Wimsatt is a 6-foot dual-threat quarterback who has a very high ceiling, and scouts say he could be an NFL guy down the road. He goes to Owensboro High School in Kentucky and plays both football and basketball. He has thrown for over 5,000 yards and 58 touchdowns in the last 2 years, with another 1,000 yards on the ground. The last big quarterback recruit Rutgers got was Art Sikowski, but he didn't pan out, and Wimsatt has a much higher ceiling than him and will be an instant impact kind of player, as none of the guys on the roster are really that talented if we're being honest. It's very uncommon for guys like this to go to Rutgers, so let's enjoy it while it lasts, and let's hope the best for Wimsatt. At number 9, we have a name that I am the most familiar with, and it is Sam Horn. Out of the hotbed state of Georgia, Sam Horn is the 83rd best player in the class of 2022, and he is both a football and baseball stud. He shocked everyone when he chose to commit to Elijah Drinkwitz in the Missouri Tigers, and as you guys know, Mizzou is my team, so I was so happy to see this. While at Collins Hill High School, Horn has thrown for over 6,000 yards and 60 touchdowns in 2 years, and has blown up as a recruit because of it. He chose the Tigers over offers from Florida, Florida State, Tennessee, West Virginia, and Oklahoma State. He's one of the biggest quarterback recruits in school history, with only Blaine Gabbert being better than him in my opinion, and he's just a hair better than Drew Lock in the rankings. He will play both sports at Mizzou, and will compete with 4-star current starter Connor Bazelak and 4-star freshman Tyler Macon when he arrives on campus. Second-year head coach Elijah Drinkwitz is proving he can get quarterbacks and that he can recruit at a high level, and I'm so excited to see what Sam can do in the future. At number 8, we have the only uncommitted top 10 guy in the country in AJ Duffy. He comes from the powerhouse of IMG Academy and has been seen as a high-level player for quite a while. He left California for Florida, but before that, he led Rancho Verde High School to an 11-1 record as a sophomore and completed 185 of 261 passes for 2,568 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 7 picks, while also being a dual threat on the ground by rushing the ball 65 times for 500 yards and 4 touchdowns. He'll have one final year to prove himself in IMG, but as of right now, he is ranked as the 79th best player in the country. As of right now, it also looks like he's going to be committing to Arizona State, and there's a lot of crystal ball and momentum going towards Herm Edwards and the Sun Devils, but who knows what will happen. If he does, he will likely be the replacement to Jaden Daniels, as he's expected to be a 2022 NFL draft prospect, and after that, it might be the AJ Duffy era. At number 7, we have the most underrated quarterback on the list in Cade Klubnik. At number 76 in the rankings, the Texas product is committed to the Clemson Tigers, and very well could be the guy after DJ Uiagalelei. He goes to the prestigious Westlake High School and has put on a show over the past few years. In 2020, he led the school, which was number 3 in the country, to a 14-0 record in the Texas 6A Division I state title. He was the offensive MVP of the league, a Max Preps first-team All-American, and the 6A Offensive Player of the Year. He's thrown for over 4,000 yards and 43 touchdowns in just over a year of starting. He apparently looked better than Quinn Ewers did when they faced off, and I think Klubnik is the most underrated quarterback in the 2022 class, and he will be a star in time. At number 6, we have what I believe to be the most overrated prospect in the top 10, Malik Murphy. He is committed to Steve Sark in Texas after Ewers flipped to Ohio State, and he has a lot of raw potential, but he has bust potential written all over him. He is ranked number 72 in the country right now and has dropped a bit, as back in the day he was a 5-star recruit. He's never started a varsity snap and is extremely raw as a player. His ceiling is high, but we don't know a lot about him right now, and I'm honestly pretty skeptical. He reminds me a lot of Joe Milton for some reason, and I'm worried about how Murphy will translate to the Longhorns, and he needs to have a good high school season. I hope I'm wrong though, and I cannot wait to see how he does at Texas. At number 5, we have one of the more wild prospects in the class in Gunnar Stockton. He was once a 5-star recruit, but has since fallen to number 42 in the country. For a while, he was committed to Will Muschamp at South Carolina, which just didn't make a whole lot of sense, but he decommitted from the Gamecocks and has since committed to Kirby Smart at Georgia. In 3 years of starting in the Georgia high school football system, he has thrown for nearly 10,000 yards and 122 touchdowns. He's trying to put himself into elite territory with Georgia high school legends such as Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, and Justin Fields. He will likely come into Georgia and compete with Brock Vandagriff for the starting job, assuming JT Daniels goes to the NFL and Brock stays. While I was curious why he ever committed to South Carolina to begin with, he will still have Muschamp on his staff at Georgia, and I think Stockton has a bright future ahead of him in college football. At number 5, we have Connor Weigman, and he's probably the most unfamiliar of these big-time names. He is a big deal in the state of Texas, though, as he was a star player there, and most recently got his 5th star on 24/7 Sports. He's ranked 33rd overall in the country and has a chance to be a big deal at Texas A&M. He passed for over 6,000 yards and 69 touchdowns in 2 years, and he blew up at camps. With him taking his talents to A&M, he'll have to compete with Haynes King and freshman Eli Stowers for the job, and I wonder how that will go. For now, I think King is the guy for the next 2 to 3 years, so we will see what happens and how much Connor ends up playing. Jimbo Fisher will do a good job with him, and I think he's a really good player, and I could do a video on him in the future. At number 3, we have another guy who I think could potentially be a bust in Ty Simpson. Rated as a 5-star recruit and the number 22 player in the class, Simpson is committed to Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Coming from the state of Tennessee, Simpson has been seen as a prodigy for quite a while, and the Volunteers wanted him pretty badly. This is where I get concerned though, as his team doesn't win as many games as you probably think, and in my opinion he doesn't play the best competition in the world and could be a lot better. In 2020, he only threw for 1,880 yards and 20 touchdowns, and that doesn't really pop off the page for me. He is the son of Tennessee Martin's head coach, and he will get good coaching in Alabama, but I am worried a tad bit. He'll likely compete with freshman Jalen Milroe for the starting job after Bryce Young is gone, and he has a lot of time to work on his game. At number 2, we have the least talked about quarterback of the top 10 in Walker Howard. He is a 5-star recruit and the number 20 player in the country, and he followed in his father's footsteps to LSU. He's only started 1 year of high school football so far, but he passed for 3,430 yards and 42 touchdowns in just 1 season. He has offers everywhere, but he was going to go to LSU because his dad played for the Tigers back in the day. He seems like a player with a really high upside, and someone who will be a star in the future. When he arrives, he'll likely battle it out with Max Johnson, TJ Finley, and Garrett Nussmeier for the starting job, but I think one of those guys will inevitably transfer. I like what Walker brings to the table, and he is an in-state kid who could bring some success to the program. Last but not least, we have the prodigy himself, Quinn Ewers. Coming from the prestigious Southlake High School in Texas, the QB known for his mullet is a 5-star recruit and the number 1 player in the country. He has been seen as a prodigy for quite a while now and was originally a Texas Longhorns commit. When Stark came in, many thought he could potentially flip back to Texas after he committed to Ohio State, but he looks like he's committed to Ryan Day and the Buckeyes, and he will play from day 1. He is seen as the best quarterback since Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields, and will be a future number 1 overall pick in time. He is the it factor and will likely start from day 1 when he arrives in Columbus, Ohio, and I'm looking forward to Ewers, and I'm pumped to see what he can do while he is in college. So there you have it. Those are the top 10 quarterback recruits for the 2022 class so far, and I hope you guys learned a lot about the stars of tomorrow. But I want to know your thoughts. Who do you guys think is the best? Who is the worst? And what are your overall thoughts on these 10 players? Let me know another good quarterback in the class of 2022 who didn't quite make the top 10. Give me another topic, player, or video idea I could do next. Give the video a like to support what I'm doing here. Subscribe if you love college football. Suggest what I should do next. And check out my video including my video about what happened to every 4-star quarterback from the 2015 class. Hope to see you guys again soon. But until next time, peace.